Hello folks, and we are back with another clip, and we're going to be doing things a little differently this time. As you can see, the setup's a little different. You're saying, Aaron, why are you sitting to the side? You guessed it, folks. I've got a guest here today, and boy, am I excited to talk to him. Today, though, we're going to talk a little more serious. A little more, it has sports related, but a little more serious. We're going to be talking about Janoris Jenkins. And as you all know, if you've heard the story, Janoris Jenkins may have just said, yes, you guessed it, the R word. Retard. I'm here to back him up, actually. To say that when I say retard, I don't mean it as a slur against the mentally disabled people or anything like that. I mean it like any other insult in the world. It's basically if I called you a cunt monkey, or a piece of shit, or a fucking asshole, or I'm going to shove my fist so far up your asshole that my elbow is going to be deep enough to fucking grab your heart and rip it out your chest. Things like of that nature. That's why I'm bringing in a man today who I think can actually help on the matter and describe this a little better. I would like to introduce today here Dr. William Fagart.
Nice to meet you. It's actually Fagort.
Fagort. Okay, I'm so sorry about that. But everybody, Dr. William Fagort.
Yes.
You are a doctor in the clinical terminology of therapistness.
Precisely.
Precisely.
And a practitioner of a goddamn gynecologist.
Gynecology.
Yes.
I don't see how that has to do with the mind in therapy, but
the mind of the pussy is a strong one.
Indeed. I commend you on that, though, to go for the two different rounds.
Precisely.
Here. Now, do you have your PhD in both?
I do.
Oh, wow.
I have a lot of student loans.
That must have taken a lot of time.
Yes, a lot of debt.
All right.
So,
Dr. Fagart.
Yes. Fagart.
Today, I've been talking to my listeners about Janoris Jenkins, NFL football player of the New York Giants. Recently tweeted, because some fans were tweeting towards him, asking about his play lately, and he said, I can only do my part, retard. Now...
The R word?
Yes, the R word.
Okay, before I get into that, let me just do just a brief history of
absolutely.
The R word, or like we like to say, retard.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, see, retardation
Yes.
has been around for a very long time. Mm-hmm. It is one of the great wonders of the world, just like King Kang.
King Kang, of
King
course.
Kang. But the term was first recorded in 1426.
Interesting.
So this is 66 years before Christopher Columbus came to the United States and slapped them native cheeks. Okay. Now, the word wasn't truly adapted until, let's see my notes, 1895. So,
interesting.
It's been around for quite some time.
Indeed.
Now, this is a Latin word for slow. Well, as you can tell from anybody that you've seen of R word origin, they are quite slow in the mind, or I should say, intellectually disabled. Now, what was the story you were telling me about this man?
Now, Janoris Jenkins, basically, his reasoning behind saying the word when they came up to him and said, are you sorry for what you said? Janoris said, no, I am not sorry for saying retard.
Wow.
And you know what his reasoning was? He says,
what?
That's just how I grew up. That's how I was raised. Around the area that I lived, around the area I was, I just grew up that way. I don't mean it in a bad way. I don't mean it as
a demeaning term.
As a demeaning term towards people who are disabled in the mind.
Correct.
He just means it as basically an insult, and he doesn't mean it towards them. It's like if someone were to say faggot. I understand some people as well. They obviously that's a very demeaning word to the LGBTQ
Precisely.
community. Yes. My point is there are people in the world who understand that is a word that they don't like, but they also understand that when they say the word, it's like when they say oh man, that is so gay. They don't mean it in the derogatory term that has been said. They just mean it as in fuck you.
And I'm glad you brought that up because as me being a professional gynecologist and therapist and just overall dumbass, in this case, I'm not sure why he was in trouble for what he said, considering that he wasn't talking specifically about a person of a disabled background.
Yes. The problem is Janoris has now been fired by the New York Giants. Do you think it was a little overboard by the New York Giants to fire Janoris for saying this and just not wanting to apologize?
I believe so. Basically because we have been adapted and raised into a nation that becomes very easily triggered over certain words.
Yes.
But at the same time, we were adapted on a foundation of freedom of speech.
Yes.
Now, I believe that the freedom of speech does apply in every sort of way in this day and age, even now, even though we live in a very triggered society.
Yes. Don't you believe that, in all honesty, and yes, Janoris got fired for this, and maybe he shouldn't have been fired, which I don't believe he should have been, but we are actually the ones that are doing the wrongdoing, giving the word the power in the first place.
Power.
Exactly. We're giving it the power in the first place.
And I was going to say, that is because most social justice warriors, SJWs, have created a community like the world has ended and they are the last hope, which they are not.
Absolutely.
They believe in a new order, basically saying that there is no sense of freedom of speech anymore. Because, like I've said, they've been raised in a society where any word that is supposed to be like derogatory is inappropriate, and you can't use them, or it's offensive. But talking about this topic with the whole firing, I just think it's a bunch of bullshit.
Yes. The word cunt.
Bitch.
A lot of people associate that with women.
Right.
Bitch. But when you think about bitch, it's a female dog. It has nothing to do with a woman. A cunt. It even means vagina. It has nothing to do with a woman or anything like that.
Vagina,
but people associate it and tie it to a certain group of people, which is essentially the problem.
Yes.
You are forcing it on one kind of people when in reality, you should be like me or Janoris for this matter, and just say it's a regular insult. It's meant for everybody. It's not meant to hurt a certain kind of people. It's meant to just be a normal insult, like you're a fucking asshole, like you mean it for every single other person. All right, well, Dr. William Fagart.
Yes.
It has been an absolute honor and pleasure talking to you.
It's great being on this podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And I cannot wait to bring you back on this podcast for your next talk.
Oh, I would gladly appreciate it to come back.
It will be great.
Yes.
Folks, and we will see you next episode.